Hello and welcome back to another episode of the HRER podcast, where we delve into the world of HR emergencies and scandals. Don't forget to follow and subscribe to HRER on your favourite podcast platform.
Get ready for scandalous stories, lessons learned, and a generous dose of advice for HR professionals for navigating the HR landscape.
Our goal here is not just to entertain, but also to help you learn from the topics we touch on in order to save your business from its own emergency.
I can give you as much, and do you know what I mean, we're really familiar, really comfortable. We're on the same level. I think everyone, do you know what I mean, puts their trousers on the same way. But you've got to come with that hunger. You've got to, whatever ambition you come with, I will match, and you can succeed in whatever way, but you've got to come with it. My team now, I can hand on heart say that if anyone needed to work from home for whatever, 6 months, whatever it is, okay, cool. I trust that person is doing that. You have that trust. It's very easy to say, oh, if we had someone else, then I think sometimes they're more human error or more, I don't want to say laziness, but then equally, as we scout, and for me to recognise, I genuinely trust all my team.
Hello, welcome back to HRER. You'll notice we are in new surroundings.
We're in London.
We are. Can you explain, please?
So this is the first of our guest series. We are in London to record the podcast. So Ollie, you are back. Alyssa, I am back.
You are back.
For HRER, that's all the same. And we have Lucy Aylen from Never Fully Dressed.
Thank you for having me.
So Lucy, it's great to have you on. Thank you so much for joining us. Lucy and I have known each other for several years now. We've worked together. And I'm thrilled that you are our first guest on HRER. Do you want to tell us a little bit about...
I'm nervous.
Don't be.
Tell me a little bit.
Tell me a little bit about Never Fully Dressed and what it is that you do.
So we're an online fashion e-commerce website, global, super positive fashion. Do you know what I mean? Getting women and people to recognise how amazing they already are. If we do that through colour or product, however we do that, community focused, charity, then that's our job. I started at the markets. I've always been creative. I could just make stuff at Portobello Road, Spitalfields. That was before social media. So I suppose my journey, and with HR as well, so I never set out with a business plan. I never set out with that intention, didn't study or have that business background. So that probably will influence this conversation. And then the fact that I started pre-social media, pre-COVID, pre any of this stuff, where I think that whole employment sector has changed so much. So just journeyed through all of that, through the markets, through social, through e-commerce, kind of global expansion. Did I say COVID? And COVID, then war, and a lot of other stuff. Actually, we're talking now today, election day. There's a lot of stuff going on. And now we're here.
I mean,
today.
It's an incredible journey. So to go from market stall to, Beyonce has worn your clothes. You're with some of the biggest distributors out there. So, ASOS, we've got Flannels, you've expanded into the States, and a big team. Now, it's to go from it just being you, and I'm so jealous of the fact that you can make clothes. Like the money I would have saved.
I can't. I'm not amazing. Which is so when I first started, everything was one size because I could make a big, oversized pattern. I couldn't make a fitted dress or whatever. Whereas now, the complete opposite. We do everything from a UK 4 to 30.
Wow.
So we've gone the other end. Yeah.
And I love that. I love that you've got the plus size ranges as well. I mean, for anyone who watches very closely, I don't take up as much room as I did on the first
I did think that. I didn't want to say, because I think you
Yeah.
shouldn't make a comment whether on a size. It's
I mean-
so irrelevant.
Oh,
Do you know what I mean?
And that's a great workplace point as well, isn't it? Is when can you tell someone that, you've lost some
You're
weight.
looking good,
Well, and because you assume, again, being a millennial and a mother that is sizist, do you know what I mean? That is just generational, that she's got good intentions. But
It's something
you
I've always
assume
loved.
that it's a compliment.
Yeah.
That if I say, you look well, you look...
Yeah.
You've
Do you know what I
told
mean?
me an
You've lost
example
weight,
where that's
but-
gone wrong before, though.
Yes,
You've told me an
100% it
example
has
that's
gone
gone
wrong.
wrong, where someone complimented.
Yeah.
I think was it a man who complimented a woman?
Yes.
Yeah.
But either way,
Sex
just don't
discriminatory.
just don't comment at all unless someone says to you, "Hey, I've lost weight, haven't you?" noticed?" Do you know what I mean? Or "I'm pregnant, didn't you notice?" Like at 9 months and they're about to drop, then go, "Oh yeah, congratulations!" And again, even that I'm studying at the minute to be a doula, like hypnobirthing. So,
Oh, wow.
and even that, like
Wow.
you shouldn't assume that someone's happy to be pregnant.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? You can't
Yeah.
just keep your mouth shut
can't
nowadays,
say nothing
and then you can't get
nowadays.
in trouble.
No.
Yeah.
Well, it's something I've always loved about the brand is that plus size element of it is
Mm-hmm.
so inclusive. And, you know, from working with you, I think it's something as well that we've seen in your workforce. You're very, very
Mm-hmm.
inclusive in the way that you work with people. So do you want to tell me a little bit about your management style? How would you say that's evolved?
Yeah, again, I think it's tough because I think there's been good and bad, or people like or dislike that approach. But I feel like where everyone's on the same level, and I think where I've been on a journey, a lot of my staff have been on that journey with me. So a lot of people started pick and pack, or was a mum at my little sister's school that just wanted a bit of part-time work. And it's been quite lovely to see the business grow and for those staff to step into, again, I think it's tough for a woman. You might have had a career before, then you have children, your confidence might go, or just you've got to look after the kids. I think it's hard to step back into your actual career. Sometimes, like I say, you need to get a little job that just works around your life. So our head of buying, our head of merch and ops, both of those just came back in again as a bit of a part-time role, and as the business have grown, have really are now head of those departments. So that's wonderful to see. But like I was taking back, they've been on that journey with me. So I think I've been really supportive of myself realising or a management style. But when you don't manage anyone, you don't come with a style. You learn that still on the job. So still learning. And again, in this conversation, do you know what I mean? I'm very aware that I'm still learning and also learning. I think when we came out of COVID as well, we came back a different size business to what we went in. And a lot of people, the employment sector changed so much. There was so much movement, I think, and a lot of people realised, oh, what do I want? Or what kind of business do I work for? And they have quite a romantic view about what a small, medium-sized business is.
It changed a lot in like working from home, remote working,
Yeah,
sort of
that as well.
expectations of people. didn't it?
Yeah. And people's work-life balance and what they wanted out of life. And maybe it wasn't this corporate setup anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So I think a lot of people then came to us thinking it was a small, which it is. We really have that family culture, really supportive, but equally it's not all romantic. Do you know what I mean? You're really exposed. We work really hard.
Would you say you've got we had it at my old place, there's like a flat top structure where everyone has their say. It's quite like equal playing field. If someone has like a not a better idea, but if someone's better versed in an area than you're more than happy to take their feedback.
Yeah, definitely. I love it. I love
Yeah.
it when someone disagrees with me or has a different view and we go, give that a go. Sometimes it might not
flop,
be,
it might,
either way, but definitely that. Everyone's voice is heard. But equally, and I've been trying to really emphasise this and make this clear of late when I'm employing, to say that you have to come with that. Again, I think if people think they're coming into our workplaces, I suppose they see we're quite big on Instagram. Do you know what I mean? They see what it's like and everyone thinks it's really going to be this just cool place. I don't know. Yeah. But it's not. You have to work
I've
really
been in
hard.
Your offices are so cool.
Oh, really? You take it for
to,
granted. That's all I've ever known. I've been a waitress or but I've never really worked for anyone else.
Yeah. They're dead funky. It's really
I can tell
cool.
just by when you walked in, I was like, what?
Oh, really?
Loud, great. To be fair,
What's I saying?
So it's in
Yeah. Tried to be really clear in interviewing now of that culture. So I can give you as much. And do you know what I mean? We're really familiar, really comfortable. We're on the same level. I think everyone, do you know what I mean, puts their trousers on the same way. But you've got to come with that hunger. You've got to, whatever ambition you come with, I will match and you can succeed in whatever way, but you've got to come with it. If you're not coming with anything, which we've had a little bit recently, do you know what I mean? Like someone come in and of course you've got that nurturing, that teaching time, but after a while when it's not coming, you have to highlight that. Do you know what I mean? I can't do anything.
Yeah.
There's a comfort period, isn't there?
Yeah, of course.
People have to get comfortable.
We're in a much better position now. When we used to hire, because we're such a small business, I used to expect someone to come in and hit the ground running, especially at a more senior level, because
they're experienced, aren't they?
Yeah, but also I'm thinking, well, I'm paying you a lot of money from the off. You need to come in and... Whereas now I think we're in a more comfortable position. And for me, again, to have learned and to realise that needs a transition period or for you to teach that culture or someone to understand the business. So we have that grace period now. But yeah, still after that, I think if I'm not getting anything from someone, I think that's hard in our size business. I think, again, we had someone join and they came from a much more corporate background. There were 7 people doing that job before. So you can easily hide, or if you've got an off day, you can.
Spread the workload, can't
our
you?
size business, you can't.
Yeah.
You're really exposed. So, but whatever you come with, I'll match and you'll learn so much.
There's upsides to that though, where there's less here, because if you do something good, it's easier to get noticed, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. Like someone, a
visibility.
really junior staff member did something the other day, circulated, and everyone's so proud of that person.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely, yeah.
So you all really champion each other. Yeah.
And I'd say in the fashion industry itself, you know, some of the more corporate sort of monsters in some respect, you know, these companies are so big, they're run in a very corporate way, and they're very, very ruthless, some of them. And I think when we have new entrants into the industry, I think you guys are an amazing platform when people start. You know, you build those close relationships, you do nurture people, they're getting so many skills. And I think now with the way that you're recruiting as well, do you ever worry that you become a platform then for people to then go on to the bigger ones, or do you see that as a positive?
Not lately. I feel like at a point we were that. Yeah, I felt like people would come to us, and because it's small, again, you wear a lot of hats, or you learn a lot about so many different departments of the industry, even if you work in yours, because you're exposed to that. And then someone would go, okay, thanks for all of that. Now I'm going to go and work. And again, you're quite attractive to, because they want that bit of insider from a up and coming or quite a current business, do you know what I mean, ways of working. So then they'd go to ASOS or go and work for, do you know what I mean? They're like, oh, thanks for all of that.
Take the industry secrets and be off.
But fine.
But
Equally,
they're very different animals to you guys as well, you know. And I don't think people necessarily understand what they've lost because there is a great culture, there is a nice kind of still family element. Like you've grown from, you know, the early days, but you've still retained that kind of feel. And even I feel that. I come in twice a year on site, and I still feel that when I come in. People are really friendly, everyone's smiling, you know, and it's a lovely environment. And I think the fact that you've been able to retain that with your recruitment and the way that you're now recruiting, you know, credit to you, because I think it's a challenge to recruit well these days.
I was going to say exactly that, and it's a challenge for me to try and retain that as we then grow from now. Do you know what I mean? Yeah.
So where do you see things going then? So we've opened in LA.
Yeah.
So what's next?
So
without
New
giving
York,
any
we've got
secrets.
stores. We've got stores in New York and LA now. So the US is really growing for us. We're launching this summer with a few partners out there. So I think that should help with brand awareness cross country as well, rather than, I'm a believer in anything, and a little bit RFD's always installed that just a little bit of everything. I don't believe in magic wands in life in general, in relationships, in friendships even. I think things take work and understanding and give and take and learnings. So the same in business, I think. And for us, because we've never had investment, do you know what I mean? We've had that discipline. It's always got to be profitable. But again, small, because when it's from your back pocket, you don't feel comfortable with risking this or it. So it's small and you learn all the time. So independence throughout the US. And then you get that small bit of brand awareness, like incremental in all of that, rather than putting all your eggs in one basket and we just invest in one massive store in one territory. Do you know what I mean? I don't think that's not our approach anyway. So the US really growing, really set, I think the last maybe again year, I think we've been really focused on the right foundations and structure of the business. And again, there's still movement in it, but setting all of that up for sustainable growth now. We kind of have taken any spikes out of the business, whether that be digital marketing, like Meta investment, staffing, whatever it is, try to really stabilise stuff. And that last year I had a bit of a feeling that was starting again. I felt like all of that was homework, and I'm like, okay, I've learned quite a bit and feel secure in what the brand is, what the business is, and now to move on from that.
How have you found the culture change between the UK and the US with staff and managing the two? That, you know, we all speak the same language, but we're
very different.
Culturally, we're so different.
One of the main things in the US is, I think we're quite resourceful as a culture. And for me as a person, even like maybe being a market trader or just quite like that, the US aren't. Like if I wanted that water, I would just pour the water into the glass. If you're in the US, you'd call the water pourer. Do you know what I mean? To pour the water. Yeah. The glass passer to pass me the glass, and then I would drink it. Do you know what I mean? It's really compartmentalised. You're in your lane. Do you know what I mean? Like
rigid, isn't it?
Yeah, I've stood there before on the shop floor in New York, and someone wanted a new lock on the door. They didn't need a new lock on the door anyway. I've had someone come to a locksmith to come and price it up or whatever. She was standing in front of me and she's messaged Gemma, our head of comms, in the UK to approve a price. I'm like, I'm standing in front of her. She wanted to message Gemma, who's going to message maybe someone else to message me to then give her an answer back. I was like, I'm standing in front of you. She's like, oh no, my point of call is Gemma. I'm like,
Robot,
this is mental. Yeah.
I mean,
There
from
and
a
then.
corporate perspective, I suppose that's, in some ways it's good. Like Michael and I are trying to sort of nail down our like expenses process and stuff. And it's, so in some ways that's really good, but at the same time, but you're like, I write the checks.
Sometimes there's just a bit of common sense. Do you know what I mean? So it's, that's a big cultural thing out there for me. And again, I'm just so hands-on, maybe with stuff. So when we've worked with people that have a better, more sophisticated structure to us, just working through that process, getting used to that a little bit more.
That's great. You're hands-on though. I suppose, if you walk into the store, it's like, oh, Lucy's here. I wonder if that ever gets old.
No, I'm saying like us like tiling. I owed all the girls like a new manicure. We're out there literally tiling the walls and doing it. I don't know. I think just probably a bit of a control freak, but
that's good. It's probably good for them to see though. That you're like a hands-on leader. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think there's a mix of both.
Dirty.
Equally, I'd unload and load the dishwasher in the office. But again, maybe that was a few years ago. Our FD of teaching me, do you know what I mean? The time spent that you're cleaning the toilet is time spent that you could be doing something that is a much better use of your time. So equally, I feel like you're all on the same. Don't ask someone to do something that you wouldn't do yourself. But equally,
you're
that other person might have a
use.
better skill set at something and my skill set is somewhere else. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But there's no job below you.
No.
But just be a bit clever because otherwise you can't
Work
do
smarter,
everything.
not
And it's
harder. That old chestnut.
Yeah.
So in terms of then where you think the fashion industry is going to go in the UK, so we see these huge companies, massive staff bases, and you guys you're competing at an amazing level with quite a tight structure, aren't you? So do you think that's something that we'll be able to maintain, or do you think that scaling is inevitable?
It's a fine line. I mean, it's conscious that I work on this side of lean. I don't think having more people, what do they say? Do you know what I mean? Equals more productivity. Everyone always thinks, do you know what I mean, when you're too busy, I need an assistant, or I need, do you know what I mean? It's very easy to say, if we had someone else then, but I think sometimes they're more human error or more, I don't want to say laziness, but then equally, as we scale, and for me to recognise, I genuinely trust all my team. So I think it's like the whole working from home thing. If you're hesitant about letting someone work from home, they're probably not right anyway. If you're questioning, if you're questioning whether someone's going to be working, whereas my team now, I can hand on heart say that if anyone needed to work from home for whatever, 6 months, whatever it is, okay, cool. I trust that person's doing that. You have that trust there. So it's a bit like if I genuinely believed, obviously you'd work, if someone said this is too much, or you can tell that someone's too stretched and that actually is hindering their stress levels. And actually their performance.
Productivity.
Productivity. Their mindset, their fatigue. Do you know what I mean? If you genuinely believe that and you've tried things of, actually, are you working smart rather than just stressing out about the wrong things? Are you time managing well? But if you've been through those processes, then and there's that thing that you kind of need to hire for. We've got a 5-year plan. I mean, we know where you need to be hiring for 6 months' time, really now. One, because it takes a few months to find someone. And then there's those few months where a training period, so really a year ahead. But again, that's easier said than done.
Since this is my own question, by the way.
Go for it.
Other one. Since COVID and that, you just alluded to it a bit there. Are you more hesitant to do a 5-year plan? Are you very much staged now compared to how you were previously before?
No, again, it's tough because we grew so much during COVID. So we're a different
Were you exclusively online before COVID? Or did you have stores as well?
We had a few stores with partners.
Okay.
We've got one store kind of East London.
Right.
Really far East London. Had that one store which was closed. But apart from that, just online. And then we had a few wholesale partners.
Okay.
So
If anything, it probably benefited you,
Canada
didn't it?
and stuff.
The whole online COVID sort of storm.
Not really. We're lucky that we're community focused and we were so D2C. Whereas a lot of people, if you were B2B, do you know what I mean? Wholesale was a big part of your business, and then they all just close their doors, and you've got a lot of stock to absorb if you haven't got that outlet. Whereas we have always been so D2C, like wholesale is about 20% of our business. We were able to absorb that. And that was the first time really, because we used to do extended sizing for ASOS predominantly. And then when they closed their doors, we were able to absorb that and extend further into that size offering that we hadn't before. So again, you've just got to think.
I suppose you've been able to flex.
Great things that have all, and we
I
were
think that
flexible.
lean team, it helps, doesn't it?
That's
that
what I mean.
you
We
can
were
then react.
much smaller then. So we were probably about a quarter of our staffing size during COVID than we are now. Do you know what I mean? So again, the bigger you are, the bigger that trunk is to move or to replant. When you're small, it's so easy. Like everyone just jumps on and helps each other. I don't think it's apples for apples. Do you know what I mean? Because the size of the business is different. So I wouldn't have had a 5-year plan. I didn't even recognise myself probably as an entrepreneur till a few years ago. Do you know what I mean? And even as a business, probably till a few years ago. I was like, oh, okay, maybe this is a thing. Yeah.
Maybe I've made it.
So well, I was never on our socials pre-COVID. I say it was a much different setup of business, much different. So we've grown. Do you know what I mean? And my approach has grown since COVID. So no, we didn't have a 5-year plan before, but I don't think that was due to COVID. I don't think we've implemented that because of COVID or lessened it or increased it because it didn't exist before.
Right, okay.
So I can't really answer.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, called yourself an entrepreneur, which you are, a very successful one. What advice would you give to someone who is starting that entrepreneur journey? Don't do it. Save yourself.
I think, there's so many answers to this question. I think, one, be open to because I was going to say, be really honest with yourself of what success looks like, maybe within 3 years or 5 years, or for you personally. Because I think if you're chasing something that really is not the truth, you're not going to get there, or it's going to be hard to plan around because there'll always, I don't know, something won't feel right. Then be open to the fact that will change. So in 3 years' time, your life circumstance might change, the business might be different. Enjoy the process and the journey of everything, because if you put like those goalposts on something, by the time you get there, that's moved anyway. So really, really try and enjoy the journey of whatever you're doing.
Take it all
and
in.
Be open to anything. Yeah, I feel like I never used to be so much. Like my sister, she's got a proper job. Do you know what I mean? My brother and sister are in the city. She does investment and stuff. Always used to want me to talk to investment people. And I used to shun it. I never used to be confident in that part of the business. Never used to network. Because I didn't probably, it's quite lonely being an entrepreneur, but where I never identified as that, or used to be embarrassed that maybe I didn't know a lot or whatever it was. Whereas now, probably I'm much more confident in my voice or my seat at the table, that I'm so open to meeting people, building connections, mentoring, whatever it is. And it's such a more grounded, open place to be that you never know what's going to come. So I think really have that as well. And be open to give, as well as always then looking for a mentor for yourself, or what help you want from someone else. Realise that is full circle. Just remain open, I think, and enjoy what you're doing.
So what would you say to someone who's going out there to employ people for the very first time?
I wish I employed earlier on. You know, that whole thing that we discussed earlier about employing for where you want to be, like in 6 months or a year's time now. I think because I never had that business plan, I never thought what success looks like, or never thought where I want that to be, didn't employ in that way. But I really wish I did. And then again, employ in those areas the skill sets that you don't have. You'd think it was obvious, but I was speaking with she's actually a model who's now started her own brand. She was like, I think I'm going to employ a creative director. She hadn't employed anyone yet. And I was like, what? You're the creative director? Like, this is mad. No, employ someone in accounts or in HR or do you know what I mean? in the skill sets that you don't have. And yeah, I wish I did that earlier on for me. It was a process. I look at the strengths. It depends how big your business is already. I suppose if you're just starting, don't employ anyone. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, you need someone that complements you, that you get on with as well. And then I suppose as you grow, you start to hire, actually maybe you don't always get on, but someone that challenges you, or diversity of thinking, like different ways of working that will stretch you and push you. But I think at first it's quite idealistic to say to do that when you're employing one person and it's just the two of you in the office for a long time.
When it's like a small startup business as well, very much like we are at the minute. Like I spoke to Michael about this, our MD. Like, for example, you look at me and like trust my word on the software a lot. Sometimes, like I'll mention things about certain aspects of software, and you're like, "Really?" I'm like, "Well, yeah." But that's another like area, and that's my expertise. Alyssa's not worked in that area before, so she trusts me on that. Yeah, I think it's very important that people, like you say, cover your blind spots especially as a startup business.
And I think knowing, like, so you know, I meet leaders regularly who don't know they've got blind spots. And that's a huge weakness.
Self-awareness, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's tough. At the minute, we've got roles. I've done a lot of the roles within the business. Again, when you grow it, do you know what I mean? But there are areas now, tech, for example, do you know what I mean? It's that aren't my skill set. And it's tough when you've got new staff to actually, to trust that, because it's hard for me, it's hard to manage them sometimes. I can manage you from a HR-y support, personnel, do you know what I mean, from that side, but actually mentoring or providing structure or objectives and targets within their skill set, I find hard. Do you know what I mean? So I don't know what the answer is, how you go around that, because they're at the top of that chain within your business.
You've got to trust them, haven't you?
So
you've got to trust them, going blind all the time.
And again, I'm not really a micro. I feel like maybe I used to be, maybe years ago, but not a micro manager. So I would expect them to set really true targets, and then I can support you in approach or whatever it is. But you've got to tell me that that's true, whether that's achievable, the right level of, do you know what I mean? Whereas that might be, for example, like super easy for them and they're having you over of like, they'd achieve that easily. But like you say, you've just got to build that trust. And
I think it's really interesting that you said that your management style's kind of evolved.
Yeah. And I used to think I wasn't really a people person. I feel like I'm getting better at it. Yeah.
I think you're definitely, absolutely a people person. I think I've observed that when I've been in. People can approach you, you know, you've got an open door. You can hear people having honest conversations with you. Would you say that's something that you've always had, or is it something you've had to develop?
Yeah, I think I've always been really open. But I don't know if it's always been the right way. Do you know what I mean? But it is just who I am. So sometimes then you're too available. Do you then build up that boundary for people? I'd
say your retention speaks volumes. You know, you've got a good team that's been with you a long way through the journey. Yeah.
But then I do worry, because we've got those lifers, do you know what I mean? Like a lot of people have been with us for a long time, for that not to be intimidating but again, whether that's a Gen Z thing, where that whole retention industry and employment wide is tough. But that new employment, sometimes we have a faster turnover there. But is that because it's so familiar with everyone else or more senior management? I hope that's not intimidating, that feels warm, and that familiarity does filter down, and the supportiveness comes, do you know what I mean, right down to every level.
I think that's changed as well. I mean, I remember when I first started out as a graduate and I went into sort of big law firms, corporate world, and you speak to people, I've been in the job for 40 years in this company. We don't really see that. People are much more fluid. They're prepared to kind of jump around, take career breaks, go traveling, be digital nomads, and go, well, this company's going to meet my needs and then I want to go here. I don't think when I started out there was the confidence to do that. They felt that if you left a job, well, people go, why did you look at your CV and go, why did you leave there? So I think there's been a shift, hasn't there, where people are a bit more kind of,
I think employees are more, no, I don't know about demanding is the word, but like more specific about their needs.
And I think for me, again, something that my parents had shops, do you know what I mean? And in the 80s, do you know what I mean? You went to work and you got paid. If you were sick, you probably didn't get paid. And my husband's a roofer, complete opposite. Like if I say, like what I talk about HR wise, he's like, what? Tell him to F up. Do you know what I mean? He's so the other way. Like
my husband's exactly the same.
Wouldn't think about something twice. Like when I talk about like mental health and stuff, he's like, I don't know. He's got quite a good it's hard, like for me to take something personally or really try and work through something. I forget what I was saying. I think when you build that environment and that culture as a business, say like I've got someone now who, it's on that retention piece, who wants to go do a bit of travelling. Do you know what I mean? And it takes them over their holiday or whatever it is. But yeah, we can arrange it at a time that can work. Do you know what I mean? And the rest of the business can support, because ultimately I want them to come back and it's not a year. Do you know what I mean? But so I think once you build up,
but you see that like from what you said there, you've been quite accepting of that they want to go travelling. You're going to implement that into like their like employment plan almost.
Yeah, just to say, that's fine. Do you know what I mean?
That's proper good. That's proper good, for lack of a better term.
That's worthy. Do you know what I mean? Again, all of these things I'm learning, I want to be able to, like how you started, like build our own culture and to really grow as a business and be that multi whatever, employ however many people, and to still retain that more of a boutique or family environment. I think so much comes. I was listening to a podcast with, do you know George the poet, like a spoken word. Yeah. I love George the poet.
He's really good.
Very political. But George the poet and Annie Mac, and the strength from like a sense of belonging, whether it is they were talking about when you're in your country that you were born in or your heritage is, but
community, innit?
Yeah. Still with it. So for me, I'm so lucky, and I think so much of, I say confidence, not in terms of bravado, but actually just a security. I've got a big family, a really close family. Do you know what I mean? So it gives you a strength, I think, as a person. So if we can create that, we have that environment in work, which even just recently I'm learning that that's not commonplace. Like I've got a few people who have come from a much bigger business and they're nervous or in a, do you know what I mean?
I'm like, to be told off.
I don't, I'm like, so really, really been in black and white, like you're safe here. Like I think you have to, I say you take it for granted that that's how you are. So you expect people to feel that, but like you're safe here. Do you know what I mean? Like this is, we'll do this together. I don't care what goes wrong or whatever mistake you make, please be honest with me. That's all I ask for. Do you know what I mean? And then you can get through anything. Like I was brought up, my mum's like, nothing's a problem. Like that's her little thing. Like whatever you come with. But yeah, I'm learning that I don't think that is commonplace.
No,
like,
so psychological safety is that's the term like that we use in the corporate world. We go out and train on it and it is rare. So the fact that you're building a culture around psychological safety is amazing. And like listen to how enthusiastic your questions are. It's like, I'm going to lose you. You're going to be like ringing Lucy after this going, can I come and work for you?
Come and work for me. Yeah. But yeah, it's something that I think we need to maybe be more open or just secure about, because then I say when I've not got that from someone, I find it really hard to manage and to give them that back. I come with an open thing, you know, when they say, everyone's innocent until proven guilty. Like I try and give that and really expect that from someone. But if there's a few things, like reoccurring things where I feel that honesty is not there, I find that hard to give everything to that person. Yeah. But I'm open to that otherwise. Yeah.
I find it mad as well. Like I'm just going to repeat what you said. But I find it mad that like there's people out there that don't look forward to going to work. Like I've been, like you say, lucky like you. Like I've had good jobs, like comfortable workplaces. I've like looked forward to going to work most days of my life. Yeah. It's mad to think some people like wake up and just hate going to work.
Yeah. But we'll get there again. We'll bring you back to that. We'll get there.
But I think that is, and that's something though as well. Some people have their own issues that you can't help with.
Oh yeah.
And I've found that a struggle sometimes, where sometimes someone might be struggling with their mental health or are not happy. And I think there's an expectancy sometimes for you to provide all of that for someone, but I don't think you can.
You can do so much.
I think if someone's not happy in their life, you can't help, and and I think that's something that someone needs to work on, and you can support and so, do you know what I mean? But they're not going to get that fulfillment.
Work can be an escape.
From work,
it can be an escape from that.
And we've got people who, do you know what I mean? That probably is
they like to
for
work
them as well
because it takes their mind off things. Yeah, but other people like you say, you can't help them.
Yeah,
it's beyond your.
Well, I think, and like you say, I think there's just the capabilities that word, or how someone copes with stress. Do you know what I mean? Like because of whatever circumstance or history or trauma or whatever it is, or just unhappiness or stress in their home life. can just become someone's identity, and they're unable to cope with anything. And that's been hard sometimes because you take that personally, or their reflection on the workplace actually probably isn't true, because they can't see something how it, you see something how you believe, not how it is most of the time.
Perception is reality, isn't it?
Yeah. So
everyone's perception is different.
that's a hard one to work around sometimes, and it makes you question stuff, because you're like, oh, I know that's not the case here, but you're feeling a certain way, so that's your truth, and you're thinking, and then you start questioning, do you know what I mean, the environment or something of, is that how that person sees it? But you have to just try and be honest with yourself of, no, I don't think it is. I think that's this person's
which we can respect
struggle.
their truth, we can support them, but we can't fix everybody, you know.
No, I know, but as I say, I think that's a strength of character, to try and remain true to what you think is the reality of a workplace, rather than seeing something as their reality. Yeah, that's a bit of, do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Look, I mean, thank you so much for being so honest and having such a great conversation. I mean, I feel like we could keep talking all day.
We were talking for like 10 minutes before we started filming, weren't we? It's nonsense.
And look, we've loved having you on. It's been a real pleasure. So
absolutely, yeah.
Anything else from you, Ollie, before we wrap up?
No, like the question list is so jumbled up, but we got through most of it, didn't we? I was really confused, but again, thank you. It's been good to meet you.
Thank you very
Thanks
much.
for your input. Appreciate it.
So thank you so much for checking back in with us. We really, really appreciate all the feedback. We hope that you enjoyed the guest series. We've got another couple of guests coming up, so keep looking out for the drops on those. Thank you for the comments.
Like, comment, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. We'll see you next time. Until next time, we're your hosts signing off from HRER. Take care of your HR and may your workplace be disaster-free. Before we go, a big thank you to you for tuning in, and don't forget to subscribe. If you have your own ER stories or suggestions for future episodes, reach out to us at HRoes, or on social media, or even HRER@HRoes.co.uk. As we navigate the maze of workplace blunders, remember that no organisation is perfect, but by sharing these stories, we can all work towards creating healthier, happier and more productive workplaces.